I'm not a big news person because I know that if I were to watch the news all day, I would probably be stressed out and sad and depressed and angry and upset. So if you're watching things that are making you feel anxious or worried or fearful or making you feel insignificant, you might need to change what you're watching. I know that on the internet there's so many opportunities to listen to and watch things that are not necessarily going to nourish your soul, because everything's going to feed your soul, but is it nourishing your soul? Because your mind, your body, your spirit, you need to love the Lord with all those things, but you also need to guard them. You also need to be mindful that if all I'm watching is shows about death and all I'm watching is shows about people cheating, or if all I'm watching is shows about people who have things that may not necessarily be within my reach, it's going to make you feel um one of the things, and Gil said this, is I think it's so beautiful. Comparison leads to a lack of contentment. You can't be content with what you have if you are comparing yourself to other people. And so I just think it's important that we are mindful of that. We got to watch what we're watching. What are you watching? What are you reading? Who are you listening to? One of the things that is important for us to remember is, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So as a sister, when we say rich, we're not talking about money. Rich stands for resilience and resilience, integrity, uh, character, and humility. That's what our rich stands for. Let me say it again. Rich in our community is not wealthy, which got that's one part of being rich. But the most important part of being rich is having resilience, having integrity, having character, and humility. So when we say rich, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about just having a whole lot of money. We're talking about the areas that are the things that are going to matter. Because at the end of the day, regardless to how you were brought up. So I'm going to ask the question: how many of you were raised in a two-parent home where you got to see your mom and your dad interact in a positive way? How many of you grew up in a house with a Christian home where your parents loved God and they went to church and they served God and they served each other? How many of you grew up in a home where you grew up in a broken home? How many of you grew up in a home where your parents were verbally abusive, or maybe you were abused, or you were physically, emotionally, or sexually abused? All of those things play a part in who you are as a person.